In the next few days, maybe the next few hours, a court will unseal the identity of around 200 of Jeffrey Epstein's associates. It will add to the list of the rich and famous who cavorted with the child predator after his conviction for child prostitution. We know some on the list, but it's worth reminding everybody. People who spent time with Epstein after the guilty plea. Prince Andrew, Katie Couric, George Stephanopoulos, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk. He popped up on Harvard University's website lauding his accomplishments. Peggy Stiegel, a gatekeeper for A-list events, included him in movie screenings. Dr. Ava Anderson, Dubinia, champion of women's health, maintained a friendship. Charlie Rose was also on the list. Epstein's former lawyer, Alan Dershowitz, is with us now. Good to see you, sir. Thank you. You've pushed for a long time for all the names to come out. This would be the question. How much are we to believe is guilt by association versus judging people by the company they kept, and that being someone after the late 2000s who had pleaded guilty to child prostitution?
Well, you can judge them for having shown bad judgment, but you can't conclude that any accusations against them are true without hearing the evidence. The reason I wanted everything put out, and I don't think the judge put everything out, I think she was selective in what she put out, and that's unfair. I want everything out, every document, every piece of paper, half-truths or lies. And I wanted them out for personal reasons because I know that they would prove what I've said from day one, that I did nothing wrong. The woman who accused me later admitted that she may have misidentified me, confused me with someone else. So I wanted everything out right from the beginning because I have nothing to hide. There are some people who may be ashamed of the fact that they hung out with Epstein. But remember, a lot of people hung out with Epstein before he was convicted. Presidents of Harvard, deans, Nobel quality scientists. He was very well thought of in the beginning. None of us knew about his private life that he kept so secret. There's a difference between what happened after he was convicted and the nature of the relationship after he was convicted, and everybody should judge for themselves. But I think the public has the right to hear and see everything, not selectively picked by a judge or anyone else.
So that would, I guess, be the question. You say that there's selective picking, and for that matter, it's been under seal until now. The guy's dead. He clearly was involved in some really despicable behavior. No one really knows why people gave him lots of money to manage, despite the fact that his record as a money manager was mediocre at best. Leads you to believe that perhaps they were trying to give him money for other reasons. People can draw their own conclusions. What are the forces to keep these names secret? What are you going to be looking for about who is still able to keep things under wraps?
Well, I can understand why people would not want family members' wives. You know, any association with Jeffrey Epstein is very, very negative. Anybody who knew Epstein, whether you knew him before or after, people say, oh, my God, you knew Epstein. You must have done something wrong. That doesn't necessarily follow. There are some people who may have done something wrong, but nobody should be believed. I mean, I think, you know, of the Me Too movement now. Me Too basically says, believe anybody except if they're a Jew and an Israeli. The stories about the rapes that have been documented in Israel. The Me Too movement, no, we're not interested in that. Feminists, we're not interested in that. If it was a Jew who was raped, forget about it. Anybody else? So, you know, there's a lot of picking and choosing by radical feminists about who they're going to believe. It's shocking that so many feminists have refused to condemn Hamas for raping and cutting off the breasts. I mean, you know, all of this makes Jeffrey Epstein, by comparison, my God, there's so much hypocrisy on the hard left among feminists, and maybe this will help expose that as well.
Look, it's a great point of people who have that huge double standard, and those who are so aghast at Jeffrey Epstein and those around him. I know that you wrote a lot about this, War Against the Jews, How to End Hamas Barbarism. It's an important book. It's a topic I know we've covered a lot on the program. We want to have you back to chat about it. It's good to see you, sir. Thank you. Happy New Year.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.